And when someone reappears after vanishing, your job is not to rush in with relief or eagerness. Your job is to listen to what their absence already taught you. There is a strength inside you that grows in the moments when someone else pulls away, because their silence forces you to return to yourself, your focus, your goals, your routines, your center. And when you build yourself during their absence, you no longer respond from insecurity when they return. You respond from alignment. You don't need their message to feel whole. You don't need their attention to feel chosen. You are already enough, even in the quiet. There is power in understanding that people's inconsistency has nothing to do with the kind of partner you are capable of being. You can be warm, loving, genuine, intentional, and still someone may not show up for you the way you deserve. That's not a lesson in be less. It's a lesson in choose better. So when he reaches out after silence, the first thing you remind yourself is simple. This does not define me. This does not elevate me or diminish me. This does not validate me or invalidate me. It is simply an action from another human being who may or may not be aligned with the life I want to build. And from that place of calm confidence, you choose your next move, because you don't owe anyone instant access just because they suddenly remembered you. You don't owe them warmth because they sent a few words. You don't owe them the same version of you they walked away from. You are allowed to respond slowly. You are allowed to protect your heart. You are allowed to say less and observe more, because your worth isn't measured by who reaches out. It's measured by what you accept when they do. And the moment you realize that, their silence no longer hurts. It educates you. Their return no longer excites you. It tests them. And you become someone who can stand in your power, whether someone is present, absent, or coming back after disappearing. How you respond when someone comes back after silence becomes the blueprint they use to understand what they can get away with. Your reaction is not just a moment, it's a message. It tells the other person what version of you they're dealing with. Are you someone who abandons your boundaries the moment a little attention appears, or are you someone who values your time, your emotional energy, and your peace more than the temporary thrill of a "hey stranger" message? Your response teaches people how to treat you, because humans learn from patterns, not words. If someone disappears and you welcome them back with instant enthusiasm, no standards, no accountability, and no pause, they unconsciously learn that your access comes cheap. They learn that they don't have to be consistent. They don't have to communicate clearly. They don't have to consider your feelings, because eventually you will open the door anyway. But when you take a breath, when you pause, when you respond with intention instead of impulse, you send a very different message. My time matters. My energy matters. My heart matters. And you don't just walk back into it without showing me your awareness. People often fear that slowing down or setting boundaries will push someone away. But the truth is, the right person is not scared of your standards. Only the wrong person is. The right person sees your boundaries as a sign of self-respect, not attitude. They understand that if they want space in your life, they should treat that space with care. Your boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They don't block love, they protect it. And the moment you honor those boundaries in how you respond, you shift the entire dynamic. Suddenly you're not the one being evaluated. You're the one doing the evaluating. You're not the one trying to prove your value. You're the one deciding whether their return adds value to your world. Responding from power doesn't mean being cold or angry. It means staying centered. It means asking yourself, does this person's behavior align with what I say I want? It means not rewarding inconsistency with instant acceptance. It means letting someone's actions prove whether they belong in your life or not. And in doing so, you reclaim control over your emotional landscape. You are no longer at the mercy of someone else's rhythm. You set your own. When someone reaches out after silence, you respond with the energy that matches your worth, not your wounds. You speak with calm, not desperation. You give space, not instant access. You observe their consistency, not their compliments. This isn't about punishing them, it's about honoring you. Your response becomes a standard. Your standard becomes a filter. And your filter protects the life you are building. Because the truth is, people treat you according to the value you place on yourself. And when you respond with self-respect, you create a world where only those who can match that respect are allowed to stay. When someone reaches out after a period of silence, your first instinct might be to react from emotion, to reply instantly out of excitement, confusion, relief, or even frustration. But emotion is the place where mistakes happen. Emotion is where you over-explain, over-give, or overcompensate. Emotion is where you try to fill the gap that someone else created. But clarity is where you rise above the noise. Clarity is the voice inside you that asks, what do I truly want? What actually supports my peace? What reflects my standards? When you respond from clarity, you step into your power. You stop reacting to the situation and start leading it. Clarity protects you from being pulled into unhealthy patterns. It prevents you from rewarding inconsistency with instant acceptance. It keeps you grounded in truth, not fantasy, because sometimes when someone disappears and suddenly reaches out, the emotional part of you wants to believe that they missed you, that they realized your value, that they're finally ready to show up differently. But clarity reminds you to look at the reality, not the story your heart hopes for. A message doesn't equal change. A reply doesn't equal effort. A return doesn't equal growth. Clarity helps you see the difference. When you take a moment to sit with your feelings before responding, something powerful happens. You separate your emotional reaction from your actual needs. You might feel excitement, but excitement is not a strategy. You might feel curiosity, but curiosity is not commitment. You might feel relieved, but relief is not a reason to abandon your boundaries. When you pause and breathe, you allow your higher self to speak louder than your insecurity. You become someone who responds with intention instead of impulse. Clarity also reminds you that you are not obligated to make things easy for someone who made things unclear for you. You don't have to rush to reply. You don't have to match their pace. You don't have to pretend nothing happened. You're allowed to take your time, to choose your words carefully, to decide whether this conversation is even worth continuing. Emotional reactions serve the moment, but clarity serves your future. And the beautiful thing is this: when you respond from clarity, you don't lose anything. You don't push the right person away. You don't ruin anything that was meant for you. What you do is filter out those who were only there for convenience, boredom, or temporary attention. Your clarity becomes the silent test. Can they handle a woman who knows her worth? Can they handle someone who doesn't jump at breadcrumbs? Can they step up with consistency when you no longer respond from fear? Responding from clarity is not about playing games. It's about valuing your emotional energy. It's about reminding yourself that someone's sudden return does not require your immediate surrender. It's about choosing your peace over your impulses. And when you practice this, you'll notice something powerful. People treat you differently when you treat yourself with intention. They step more carefully. They show up more consistently. They respect you more deeply. Not because you demanded it, but because your clarity made it clear that nothing less will ever be enough again. Just because someone comes back after disappearing doesn't mean they've changed. A return is easy. It takes only a few seconds, a moment of boredom, a spark of loneliness, or a sudden wave of curiosity. But growth takes effort. Consistency takes intention. Commitment takes character. When someone reaches out after silence, you must remember that a message is not a transformation. It's simply a tap on the window. It doesn't reveal their depth. It doesn't reflect new maturity. It doesn't undo the pattern they already showed you. You cannot assume that just because someone reappears, they've suddenly evolved into the partner you once hoped they would be. People don't change in the silence. They change in the work they do during that silence. And most never do the work. When someone returns, it's tempting to grab onto the hope that this time will be different, that maybe they finally understand your value, that the distance awakened them, that they're ready to show up in the way they couldn't before. But hope is not a strategy. You cannot build a future on hope alone. You build it on patterns, on consistency, on effort that lasts longer than a convenient message. Pay attention to what they do, not just what they say. Words are cheap. Reaching out is effortless. What matters is whether their behavior aligns with the standards you've set for your life. People can miss you without respecting you. They can reach out without intending to stay. They can want your presence without being ready for your heart. This is why your response must be grounded in observation, not emotion. You don't offer them immediate warmth. You don't hand over trust like it costs nothing. You don't ignore the history just because the present feels tempting. You respond with a mindset that says, show me who you are, not who you talk about being. You give space for their actions to reveal their truth. Silence didn't teach you that they're gone. It taught you that they're inconsistent. And inconsistency is not solved by their return. It's exposed by what comes after. When someone reappears, don't let nostalgia or loneliness blind you to the reality of their pattern. Look at whether they're showing signs of emotional responsibility. Are they communicating with intention or just fishing for attention? Are they returning with clarity or just dipping back into comfort? Are they stepping in with respect or casually testing if the door is still open? A person who values you will come back with honesty, accountability, and clear intentions. A person who doesn't will come back with excuses, casual energy, or small talk designed to keep you in orbit. The moment you realize that a person's return is not proof of growth, you free yourself from the trap of giving unlimited chances. You become someone who evaluates, not fantasizes, someone who protects their heart, not hands it over at the first sign of attention, someone who knows that real change is shown through consistency, not convenience. A return is only meaningful if it comes with responsibility, effort, and the behavior of someone who understands your value, not someone who just missed your presence. And the more you trust this truth, the easier it comes to let people prove themselves instead of assuming they already have. Your time, your attention, your emotional energy, these are not open doors for anyone to walk through whenever they feel like it. Reconnection is a privilege, not a guarantee. People often assume that because they once had access to you, they will always have access to you. They think they can disappear, reappear, and pick up exactly where they left off. But that version of you no longer exists. The moment they chose silence, you chose growth. The moment they pulled away, life pushed you forward.